Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with IONCINEMA, here to review Tesla, the latest film directed by Michael Almereyda, which will be available to stream on digital on demand, as well as some theaters, August 21st, 2020, courtesy of IC Films. Of course, this is a biopic about Nikola Tesla, played by Ethan Hawke. But if you're experienced at all with any of the filmography of Michael Almereyda, you'll know that this is not the kind of typical biopic you're going to expect. And of course, in true form, it is very idiosyncratic and true to Almereyda's, very singular style. He's worked with Ethan Hawke before in a couple of contemporaneous Shakespearean adaptations. One quite excellent one I thought back in 2000 was a digital age version of Hamlet. And then there was also 2014 Cymbeline, which I wasn't quite as big a fan of. However, here we have Ethan Hawke playing Nikola Tesla, who's an immigrant from an area that is now Croatia. Of course, not speaking in the accent that would be fitting for where he hails from, but we meet him at turn of the century New York, working for Thomas Edison, a very kind of contemptuous and pretentious Kyle MacLachlan, who I also enjoyed in his very limited form. Basically, it's a lot of them going back and forth because Edison is convinced that alternative currents, AC is dangerous as opposed to DC, so there's a lot of talk of energy and of Tesla's innovations with an inductive motor and how we would come to be able to transmit energy and of course for free because it can't be measured in any commodifiable terms that at least benefited Tesla himself. And this is narrated, of course, by Eve Hewson, who's playing Anne Morgan, the daughter of the J.P. Morgan, who has a dalliance with, kind of a stifled romance with Nikola Tesla. She is narrating it omnisciently for us and breaking the fourth wall and kind of putting it into contemporary terms of where Tesla fits alongside Edison and George Westinghouse, who's played by an entertaining Jim Gaffigan, it's probably one of the most entertaining uses of Jim Gaffigan lately, who's been popped up in a variety of films. But based on, if you are to Google any of their names today, how little pops up about Tesla compared to those other two titans of industry per se. And the line that kind of works well is how things get murky. So it's really Almereyda and Hawke taking liberties, of course. There's a lot of anachronisms, and there's a sequence at the end where Ethan Hawke is singing Tears for Fears. All to be expected if you know what you're getting into. If you don't, I can imagine that Tesla might be somewhat irritating potentially. But there's lots of entertaining character actors in here. James Urbaniak, Lois Smith, who's in Almereyda's last film, which I liked considerably, Marjorie Prime. She just flashed upon there for a sequence. I do think this is more experimental than his 2015 film Experimenter about Stanley Milgram with Peter Sarsgaard and Winona Ryder. Another interesting element I thought was I was sure I was hearing John Lithgow's voice and not seeing him, and it turns out his son Ian Lithgow sounds just like him, which kind of threw me for a loop. But I would say stylistically this is similar to what Terence Davies did for the Emily Dickinson biopic A Quiet Passion in 2016. And while that film I hold to, I love that film. I don't think Tesla gets there quite to the same heights as what Terence Davies does with Dickinson, but it's still interesting. I was considering all the subjects that it is examining in a historical figure who's important to how the world works today. Those don't sound like they make for captivating cinema. You would be surprised watching the film. It's excellently shot by Sean Price Williams. I love the look of the film. Also John Pisano's score. There's a line in the film about thinking is more interesting than knowing, and I think that is exactly the essence of Tesla, the film. Overall, I would give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.